Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Ashke Pietism. Today I'm gonna give you a lecture about the tribe of Dan. Now, besides the Bible, you may have heard of the tribe of Dan in the context of conspiracy theories about the supposed demonic or satanic bloodline of the Merovingians. Now, those conspiracy theories usually ascribe to those members of the Merovingian bloodline, the Danite bloodline, demonic or satanic nature. Now, conspiracy theorists usually lack capacity for nuance. They see everything in black and white, and because of that, I want to present to you today a different perspective, a different angle on the tribe of Dan, the character of Dan, the biblical Dan, a more Christological perspective on Dan, and specifically on one of his progeny, Samson, who is understood largely to be a type of Christ. So let's delve deep into this subject. Now, first of all, Samson it is understood that the prophecy in Genesis 49, when Jacob blesses Dan, when Jacob says, "Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path," it is understood as a prefiguration of Samson. Now, so it is understood that Samson was in one way or another a serpentine type. Now, the word for adder in the path, the word for adder, shephifon, is understood as a doubling of the word shephi, crooked, which refers to the crippled walking of Balaam to the top of the mountain, Numbers 23. So it is understood that if Balaam was limp in one of his legs, then Samson was limp in both of his legs, in his two legs. Now, it is taught traditionally that the serpent is legless, based on Genesis 3. The Talmud says, "The truth stands, but the lie can't stand. The serpent can't stand." That is, the serpent is prudent or crafty or deceitful. He can't stand because he has no legs. Now, does this leglessness, is this a purely diabolical signification, or does it implicate a deeper messianic nature? We're gonna see. So first of all, we understand Jacob's the thigh upon which Jacob was halting in Genesis 32. After he wrestled with the Lord, he was halting upon his thigh. Now it is understood that the thigh upon which he was halting is the tribe of Dan. This is how it is understood in certain rabbinic teachings. Why is that? Because if we understand the Israelite body, the archetypal Israelite bodies having four limbs, which correspond to the four cardinal points of the world, it is understood that the south is the right arm, the east is the left arm, the west is the right thigh, and the north is the left thigh. Now the north, we know from rabbinic elucidation that Jacob was halting on his left thigh. Now, if the left thigh is the north, it is understood that as corresponding to the tribe of Dan from among the four banners of Israel, because when the four banners of Israel are situated around the tabernacle, it is said that Dan's banner is upon the north in Numbers chapter 2. Moreover, so we understand the Danites as the Baalei Kabin, which is a rabbinic term for people with artificial legs. So Danites are legless. What does this mean? This means that they are halting in their bodily aspect. Now, why is that so? Because the leg represents flesh, while the head and the chest, the upper part of the body, represents the soul, the interior aspect. The leg represents the exterior or bodily or glorious aspect. If you are legless, you are inglorious. You lack the glory of this world, of the body. You are dead in your body because you are legless. You have no, you are slain in your fleshly aspect. That means that you are dead and you are inglorious. Moreover, in rabbinic traditions, the legs are understood as the abode of one's property. In Sanhedrin 110, it is exegeted from the verse in Deuteronomy 11, where it is told that the Tanan Abiram was swallowed by the earth with all the substance that was in their feet. The Talmud exegetes that the substance in the feet of the Tanan Abiram was their property, because the property makes man stand upon his feet. This is why it is phrased like that in Deuteronomy 11. Now this is why Jacob, when he took Esau's birthright, he held Esau's heel, because the heel is the abode of the inheritance, of the property, of the birthright. Now why is that relevant? Because now this is an innovation of Ariel Cohen Alora. I recommend you watching his YouTube channel. The Messiah is poor. In Zechariah 9:9, it is told that the Messiah is poor. That implicates that the Messiah is legless because he has no property. He hasn't the riches of the world. He hasn't the mammon. He has no legs. He has no glory. So that means that he is legless. That means he is an antitype of Samson, the serpent, the legless serpent. Now, this is why Jesus is identified on some level with the brazen serpent in the wilderness. So this is the holy serpent, the serpent of the side of holiness. Now, according to Samson Ostropoler, was a rabbinic sage from a number of hundreds of years ago, Samson was a quote-unquote reincarnation of Esau. Now, this slide has 4 points which list out indications that Samson and Esau are of an identical typology. Now, the content here is extracted from the writings of Samson Ostropoler and his teacher, Rabbi Natan Shpira, the Megala Amokot. So I'm gonna explain and elucidate and elaborate on those points that are listed in the slide. Now, first of all, Samson's vigor, we are told when Samson tells Delilah, his vigor is in his hair. Now, Esau, we know, was a hairy man. Jacob says in Genesis 27, he says to his mother, I am a smooth man, my brother Esau is a hairy man. Now, we know also in Genesis 25 that Esau was born with a hairy a mantle of hair. So it is understood that Esau is the type of hairiness. So, this also explains why the Merovingians, who were Danites, grew their hair. It means that they are typified by Samson and Esau. And also, fun fact, I also, from my mother's side, I descend from a tribe of Assyrian Danites who were expelled by Sanherib to Assyria and stayed there since antiquity. And they also had a tradition of not cutting our hair, you know. And also, fun fact, I always hated cutting my hair as a child. You can ask my mom. Now, second point, Samson was a Nazirite. That means he did not drink any wine. Now, the Hebrew word for wine, yain, has a gematria of 70. Now, what other word in Hebrew has a gematria of 70? That is the word nazid, which is the word for the pottage that Jacob sought for Esau in Genesis 25, verse 29. So it is understood that Samson not drinking from the wine is an antitype or a fulfillment or a rectification of Esau eating from the pottage. Now, third point, Samson smote the Palestinians. It is taught in Judges 15, verse 8. He smote the Philistines' hip and thigh. That means that first of all, that typologically echoes the touching of Jacob's thigh by Jesus. Now, the angel with which Jacob was wrestling, according to rabbinic lore, was the angel of Esau, the servant of Esau. So it is understood that Samson is an antitype of Esau touching the thigh of Jacob when he smote the thighs of the Philistines. Now, fourth point is that Samson was a serpent in Genesis 49, but taught that Dan and his progeny Samson was a serpent. Serpent by the way, etc., etc. Now, Esau, we know, was a cunning hunter. That means he was a deceitful or crafty hunter. In Genesis 25, now the translation, the Chaldean translation in the Chaldean Bible, in the Targum of cunning hunter is Nechashir Khan, which means the thigh of the serpent. That means that Esau is the one with the thigh of the serpent. So this identifies Samson and Esau. Furthermore, we're now going to talk about the final aspect. Samson, we know, as we said, drank no wine. Now, wine has the gematria of 70. And we know that out of Jacob's thigh, 70 souls came out. In Exodus chapter 1, verse 5, it is thought that 70 souls came out of Jacob's thigh. Now what this signifies is that the number 70 represents the glory of man, the exterior aspect. In the book of Isaiah, it is thought, it is written that the Lord has made the place of his feet glorious. The feet are glory of man. And when Samson hasn't the wine, he hasn't the glory, he hasn't the feet, he hasn't the thigh, it means he is identified with Jacob, whose thigh was halting. He was halting up his thigh was crippled, and it is taught in Genesis 32, verse 31, that when Jacob was halting upon his thigh, the sun rose upon him. So this is an indication that there is a messianic quality to lifelessness, to the inglorious nature. And that is an identification of Samson with the Messiah. So to summarize this lecture, the tribe of Dan signifies the messianic principle. Dan is typologically identified as a serpent with both good and evil implications. Now Dan is the element in the Israelite body upon which was Jacob halting, as the sun rose upon him. So this is the lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.